This conference will now be recorded.
All right, let me know if you see the screen sharing.
We got you, John. It looks fine.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Everyone, unfortunately, I do have a call conflict here,
Mhm.
so I will need to drop off. Joshua, I'm going to go
Okay.
ahead and make you just a backup organizer. That way, in case Ja's internet goes out, since I know you're traveling, we won't lose the call.
Okay, that sounds fine. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Michael. All right, for those just, oh, I see one more. It's from Warren from Lenovo. Okay. All right, for those just joined the bridge, we will wait a couple minutes, maybe give it 2 more minutes before start this month's call.
Hey, John, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I dropped for a second. I had to dial back in.
All right, it looks good.
Okay, cool.
All right, I will give 1 more minute, and starting 1 more minute. All right, let's get started. So yeah, thank you everyone for calling in. I think today we will just quickly think on the progress of the spec and across different topics in the last month. So first, a quick summary. Based on my understanding, I did a quick refresh on the item tracker. I haven't uploaded it onto the wiki, probably some internet connection problem, but the link is here for reference. And I think currently we have a release candidate of the 0.84 version. There is a couple change under review with no objection, but just want to confirm if there any input before we kind of move on. Yeah. So Thomas, feel free to add something if you have anything you want to highlight.
Sure. John, as you mentioned, the 0.84 draft has been out for review for about a week, 2 weeks now, and I haven't received any comments on it. But since that was released, there was a discussion over the email threads for Goldfinger links. So that's something that will be incorporated into the latest spec. You noted that in the rev tracking spreadsheet as the last item. I didn't receive any nays on the implementation yet. That's likely to pass.
Okay. Any other
And
questions?
then along with that, sorry. Then along with that, I know Josh, there are some mechanical changes that we're working on within the mechanical group, and some proposed text for the SI section that will concern length matching. So hopefully those could all get in by, let's say, Wednesday to me, and I could publish an updated version for review as a release candidate.
Wednesday, which day do we want to set?
So Friday, sorry.
Friday, okay.
Yep. I know Jonathan Mai, from Intel's perspective, he's doing the drawing updates with Josh's direction.
Yeah, just to add to that quickly, I think we have a pretty good path to what's going to get into this next release. We know what we need to do, we just need to do it. So that's what we're actively trying to execute on right now. There are a couple topics that we've been discussing that probably won't make this release because their scope's a bit larger than we'd like to try to squeeze it in right now. So there's going to be some ongoing discussion around some other things.
Right. And then with regards to version numbers, in my previous email that I sent to the work group, I said the 0.84 would roll to 0.9 when it's released. But just out of curiosity from the folks on the phone, is this really a 0.9 if we're missing like thermal tables, etc.? I mean, what's your guys' take on it? And I'll just name the file appropriately.
Yeah, I feel it's premature to call it a 0.9. And I think the 0.9 should be in point that include, I think, both also signal integrity conformance.
Yep. Okay.
And yeah.
Then I'll hold off on going to 0.9. Maybe I'll roll it to 0.85. So that way it's a new number and people are not trying to use a 0.4 down rev. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Jia, one question on for the self-shutdown, at this point we have all the changes in, right? Thomas, you sent out an email. We didn't receive any issue or further changes.
Yeah, I incorporated your proposed updates for self-shutdown, I think several weeks ago. And I asked the community to review it. Have not heard any objections on that, so it will just be as is. It's basically your text with a minor edits. The technical content's the same.
Yes. No, thanks for that. I was just looking for, did you get any additional feedback? It seems like at this point.
I did not get additional feedback.
Objection.
Right? So it was quiet, so no objection.
Yeah, no objection, yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah, thank you for the comment, Hamel. So let's see, that's pretty much for the overall spec situation. So I move to mechanical and see if Josh want to give a quick update on mechanical.
Sure, I can certainly do that. So we have a few things changing. None of the changes that we're talking about none of the changes that we're implementing change the PCB at all. So these are all kind of external to that. It's actually a pretty long list. I can hit some of them. There's some changes to isolators, a couple different options that we're going to have in the spec. This was a request from Mellanox, so we'll have two variants of isolators. We're also discussing allowing thinner isolators as well to help with the bottom side keep-in height. And we're doing some optimization around the EMI grounding clips, as well as some CTF drawing updates. There are also a couple hardware updates in terms of screws and EMI springs and things like that, which will be added into the bombs. I think that's about it.
Concerning screws, we've got a couple of sample OCP cards and noticed that some of them use different screws. Like one of them has a Torx screw, one of them has a Phillips screw. I'm not really familiar with the mechanical section there. Is that something that is specified and I'm just seeing only parts or?
So you should not have a mix of Torx and Phillips. The only things that are included in the spec today are Phillips. So somebody isn't building per our recommendations.
Okay, but it is defined in the mechanical section that they're Phillips?
It is. If you look at the mechanical section, there's actually a complete BOM that defines part numbers that we intend to be used to build these. And those part numbers track to Phillips only today.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just not familiar with the mechanical section enough to know. I figured
Yep.
just quicker to ask.
Sure. And Warren, if you want additional details around those components, just reach out to me and I can help you out.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. There will be new 3D CAD that we'll also be publishing here shortly. I have to generate it. It's basically just very minor updates, and the mechanicals that are involved in the call are aware of all the, all those details. I won't go into them here.
So thank you for the update, Josh. And for the version control, do you have suggestion of which version the 3D will roll to?
You mean if it's either if it's either 0.85 or 0.9? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, the version that we will.
Yeah, I'm actually, we're pretty confident with where we're at today. I'd actually be comfortable going to 0.9. That's my personal opinion. We're pretty mature. The couple of changes we're talking about right now, they could be rolling changes. I don't anticipate it to really drastically change anything. The types of changes we're talking about are very detailed at this point.
Okay. So I'm open to do it, and I just want to hear from the bridge that if there's any concern of having the mechanical reach 0.9 ahead of the main spec. Hope that doesn't cause confusion, but I do see the point of having 0.9 to show the matureness of some part of the spec instead of the whole spec.
Just to be clear, Jaw, I think that I could do 0.9, but I would like to sync whatever I do to whatever the overall program is doing, just so it's very clear. So I'm flexible either way. I just want to give you my opinion on the maturity that I've seen from my perspective.
Okay. Then in this case, I may suggest go with 0.85 to sync with this month's push.
Okay.
Which, yeah, I think it's more straightforward for the community when they take it.
Okay. Yeah.
And avoid confusion of why they are different.
Yep. No problem. I can certainly do that.
Okay. So next one, I'm moving to the thermal, and is Yuemi on the bridge?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here.
Yep, thank you.
So, yes. So for thermal side, actually, this time we posted the thermal text vehicle, both the board files, like the tables we're using, and also the CAD files. And I think like Rob and John from Dell, they actually sent some samples to most of the companies. So if you do have a chance to get it, like take a look, and if you have any questions, feel free to ping us on the group. And also, we do see some needs to publish a basic instruction how to use this kind of fixture. And we are thinking to include that together with the tier definition. Like since now we don't have like too many real cards coming out to do real testing, so we are thinking maybe on the version 1.0 refresh will include all the details into the newest thermal refresh.
All right. Any question, comments? All right. Move forward. Before I try to cover for submit, I just want to make sure he's not on the bridge. Yes, he's not on the bridge. So yeah, here is a quick kind of update I get from submit through meeting minutes with simplified version. I do see someone more involved with it, like John is on the bridge, John from Dell, so feel free to chime in. So on high level, I think there are proposal of NCSI trace lengths coming in, and John in Dell is working on the text. Hope that can be getting to the 0.85 version going out, kind of maybe frozen this Friday and going out maybe early next week. And the second thing is about the PCIe text fixture contributing strategy. So Summit from Facebook is actively discussing with PCI SIG and trying to find a path. And the key ask is trying to see if PCI SIG can enable the NIC 3.0 version of CBB and CLB while still have some openness to open source design files, but this is still an ask, so we haven't seen a line of sight to have PCI SIG committing to that. Meanwhile, I'm aware at least Dell has go fairly far of having their CBB and CLB and willing to contribute. So I'm in Taiwan this week. I also noticed at least one of our Facebook's ODN has already also made their own CBB and CLB. So I think it's from that I take it as a sign of the adopter actually has a timeline to have a working CBB and CLB for their system and the card validation. And without a common fixture, everyone will tend to just do their own thing. So there, definitely I will pass it to the PCI SIG and submit so that we can set a timeline for it. And last bullet I get from submit or the people work on this side is there is one intention to change the NIC PCI Gen 4 loss budget from 8 dB to 6 dB to give more room for the system side. These are what I get from submit from his meeting minutes, and feel free to chime in if you are working directly with the SI topics. And John, do you have something to add before we move on?
No, I think that that covers it, and we will get that text in to the 0.85. That first bullet item will get done.
Cool. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Oh, that's actually all the content. Yeah. So maybe take a quick stop to see if there are any open question comments. Is there any question, comments? Do you see some difficulty during designing? I believe many of you are doing it. And feel free to either use mailing list or this call to highlight something that concerns you. All right, if not, I think we will just
How far are we away from, this is Paul, can you hear me?
Hey, Paul, I can hear you now, thank you.
Great. How far are we away from sort of completely filling out the thermal class tables with all the numbers?
Yeah, Paul, so actually, this is actually an ongoing effort. Like, we definitely want a few cards to be testing that so that we have a consistent, like, kind of definition of how the tiers look like, right? So currently, we don't have, like, so many vendors that are giving us the sample card, or we don't have too much understanding of how thermal will be looking like. So I would say, like, probably just give us a little bit more time on the implementation side. And then, like, basically we can get that into the spec later. So we have more understanding and more cards to test with.
Okay. So how much later? Do we have an idea?
Yeah, I think last time when we said this, we said like Q1, Q2, 2019, right? So I'm not sure what, like, let me go back and see whether by that time we'll have like multiple samples to test.
I think, Paul, one of the issues is we do need some community support around this. We don't actively have platforms here at Facebook under development, so we need to get the community's help here.
Yep. No, I guess it's a kind of interesting chicken and egg that, you know, in order to really have a final NIC, I need to make sure I put my NICs in the right place on this table. But in order to get the NICs on this table, you need the right final, you know, you kind of understand where we are.
Yeah, exactly, Paul. So I think now like maybe Intel also have the test fixture and vehicle. If you have cards, like test it and let us know like what's your thought on this, right? And then like we'll gather multiple vendors, like multiple inputs. We can definitely go ahead and define the tiers.
Got it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can do it sooner than what you're hoping, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for this question. I want to maybe understand better or understand more from my point of view. So it seems like there may be people making their own car sample. So how does it work? Is that like someone test their car in their own setup and report the data back to OCP NIC community, or do they submit the car as a testing vehicle or fixture for some centralized lab or setup to gather data together? How does that work in reality?
Yeah, Jack. So currently we do have a standardized text fixture, right? So we hope that all the vendors can use that text fixture. And let's say think like maybe I can work with John and also Rob from Dell. We can pour up some like initial guidance of how people will use this text fixture so that like the test can be like repeatable and also can be apple-to-apple comparison. So I think that is the first step, and then like once people follow this kind of instruction and do the real testing, it can be like reported back to OCP like subgroup of thermal, right? And then like the core team will decide, okay, like based on all the test results we have right now, what are the tiers? Can be like, we can probably like divide it to a more kind of a narrow band, or it needs to be like a broader band. So I think that's the one, like basically in my mind, like definitely if people have more suggestions or how to make this more quicker and also reliable, just let us know. But this is like how I envision this procedure.
Okay, and a follow-up question is, do we want to have like a very granular, like if we look at here at 12 tiers, right? So are we looking at like a very wide spectrum of sample, and for every supplier or manufacturer of that sample to do some testing and provide data and report back data for us to fill in this table? Is that how we envision it?
Yeah, I think so. This is kind of one way we can do it, right? So because like nowadays, like Facebook doesn't have a like kind of a very aggressive timeline to implement the NIC into our platform. So I would think like will help from the community will definitely help to fasten this table. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I see. So from this look like a somewhat open-ended system to get all the data, because purely depends on is there anyone, how many different cards people are enabling, what's the time, and are they doing a test and sending the result back to you, right? So pretty much we are hoping this happen, but it's just really hard to tell is something we have a visibility, for example.
Yeah, exactly. So like, have so many dependencies. So like once it gets the result quicker, we may get this quicker as well.
Okay, so maybe we can take it offline, but maybe we can brainstorm a little bit, trying to see how is there a way for us to cover with some fixture or like thermal testing vehicle for the NIC to come out the profile, but I don't feel we will be able to really get into the meat of the detail here.
Okay.
I think we're motivated to help make this happen. So and Jonathan is here also from Intel. So Jonathan, I don't know, can you share when we plan to provide our data? Or maybe he's going to stay muted and not respond. Okay, he's still muted.
He's still muted, yeah. All right,
okay,
sorry.
can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. So there's a couple of limitations, which is equipment on getting the thermal fixture fully functional. We have some supplier, for example, like the anemometer, the candlestick right now. We're still waiting for the supplier to send to us because we don't have it. And it takes a while for them to make it. So that's one of the things that's holding us up. The other thing that is also, kind of got some progress on it is we got the fixture working, and the board that John provided to us working as well. So actually, we just got that up, and it's running. Yesterday, I was spending time in the lab and got it all up running. So now we're getting the process of calibrating and then getting the board in to start measuring data. So that's where we're at. But still waiting for the anemometer to get in so we can actually correlate LFM to the actual thermal data.
I see.
Jonathan, for the anemometer, you mean like the candlestick sensor, right? Do you think it can help if like all the vendors or all the subgroups, if we kind of place an order together, like if the quantity is big enough, whether it will fast, like make the speed faster, I can coordinate on that if that's
Yeah. So, yeah, a while back, right? You saw my email maybe about a month ago where I kind of,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that was like the challenge, and I was trying to work really hard with the supply to try to pull in the lead time. But yeah, it seemed challenging. But however, they're saying that they're shipping out yesterday, but I haven't heard any update yet. So I'm still trying to follow up with them. Yeah, that's why any help can would be really appreciated.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
And
so
then
Jonathan, Jonathan, are you using your own card for testing whether what's making the fixture functional? Is that
yes. Yep.
okay? Okay, so there's still not a test vehicle card that's out there for this function yet.
Sounds like not. Yeah, it's a working car, not a thermal testing vehicle. Jonathan may help to confirm, but that's what I hear.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We may look into designing, but we need to get resource for that. So.
Yeah, okay. If anyone working on thermal testing vehicle, I think it would definitely worth to talk about it, and this is likely will be very helpful for us to define the tier table without like the dozen of different cards happen to land at the right place.
So Dell developed a thermal test vehicle for a couple of the board profiles.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see what it would take to get that and share that and maybe update it. Because I'm sure other people on here would probably have some opinions on what they'd like to see.
Okay, thank you.
Jonathan, one more question about are you using any of the onboard connectors that are on the fixture, the USB and the RJ45, or are you just running a signal through a system board that you've got plugged in?
So right now, I don't have any instruction on how to use all those USB or RJ45, and I believe that was my question to the thermal community earlier. Is there instruction on what to use for that? Right now, what we're doing is just basically taking that fixture and plug it into our own system and running our software to exercise the thermal limit of our card and then make measurement and thermal from it.
Right, does that answer the question?
Certainly does, and you know, brings up what Jonathan had brought up before about, you know, at least at some point, you know, if it's not included in the spec, possibly an offline set of instructions or set of setup conditions using those onboard connectors just to understand, you know, what kind of signals we need to be sent, and you know, how that's going to work.
Yeah, Carl, you're right. I'm delinquent in providing that to the group, and I will I'll see if we can get something next week. If you have a specific question on it, just send me an email or give my cell a call, and we'll talk through it.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Yeah. Any other discussion? question, comments? Just like the thermal topics we just talked about. All right. So if no other comments, I will suggest to finish the call 30 minutes earlier. Everyone gets 30 minutes back. And enjoy the November, getting into holiday season. So. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Ja.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.
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 Hey, Ja, before you